The Accomac Inn is a restaurant in York, Pennsylvania, which is near Wrightsville, PA. Wrightsville was named after John Wright, and in 1729, John Wright and others began settling the land west of the Susquehanna River. Wright became a ferry service across the river. The Wright's ferry connected the road from Philadelphia to Columbia, and then another road which led to Maryland. For a long period of time, this area was claimed by both Pennsylvania and Maryland. There was a war that was being fought in around the town. By 1735, the war was over and this town became Wrightsville. The inn was originally called the Anderson's Ferry Inn. They got this name because of the ferry river crossing. The Coyle family, which consists of the father, John Coyle, the wife who was unnamed, and their son, Johnny Jr., bought the Anderson's Ferry Inn in 1864. They renamed the inn the Accomac Inn in 1875. They got the name from a Native American word, Accomac, which translates to the other side. Mrs. Coyle had arthritis, which is why they needed someone to help them with the workload. So they hired a young girl named Emily Myers. They described Emily as a young, petite girl with a milky white complexion. Emily at the time was not able to read or write. Emily was cared for a lot by the Coyles, especially Johnny Jr. Johnny Jr. cared so deeply for Emily that he would pursue her a bunch of times, and each time she would say no and turn him down. She told him that it was not appropriate for him to pay so much attention to hired help. Although Johnny Jr. was a young adult, his actions were often childish. The morning of May 30th, 1882, Emily was outside milking the cows before the Coyles were awake, or so she thought. Johnny Jr. then approached her in the barn and demanded that she run away with him so they can get married. When Emily said no, Johnny Jr. pulled a revolver on her. He shot Emily in the chest, which then went through her heart, and she fell to the floor and died. Johnny Jr. was convicted of murder, and his trial was held in Gettysburg. His defense attorney tried to say that he was insane, and his mother, Mrs. Coyle, also testified that her son was mentally unstable. In the end, he was found guilty, and he accepted his fate and later died. Mr. and Mrs. Coyle brought Johnny Jr.'s body back to the Accomac Inn and buried it outside in the backyard. A couple years later, the Coyles sold the inn to a new owner who built the place back up, and it became a popular site. They held dances and flatboat excursions on the river to places like Chickies Rock. They also became famous for their chicken and waffles. In 1935, the Accomac Inn burnt down, and the then owner, Norman Pickle, vowed to rebuild the inn exactly the way it was, and he succeeded. Throughout the years, the building had the reputation of being haunted. They say that Emily and Johnny both haunt the place. The second floor dining staff say that they hear a female voice talking. They also hear objects being moved, chairs and tables rearranged, and phantom music is being heard playing. The Accomac Inn was sold again a few years later to a new owner named Douglas Campbell. He turned the restaurant into an upscale restaurant, and they had seasonal porch dining with a view of the Susquehanna River. They also had ghost dinners yearly, accounting the haunted history of the Accomac Inn. There have been many different owners who took a different spin on the Accomac Inn, but in 2018, it had been closed for bankruptcy and has yet to reopen.